Well, good morning to everyone. My name is Luis Alejandro Gonzalez. I'm a physical education teacher from the Córdoba city, Argentina, like Guillermo, and I am currently collaborating with the professional team of coaches who work with the rugby division at the Bangor Grammar School. Today, we want to introduce you to a very interesting topic that is sometimes a little understood. Today, we are talking about how to understand and use the nutritional fact levels. Here we go. The first question is, what is a nutrition fact level? It is a simple table that describes the nutritional value of the product, which is appropriated by rigorous law in order to facilitate the consumer selection or not. Because we have to remember that it is a process of selection, preparation, consumption, digestion, absorption, and elimination of nutrients. That means that you, me, and all the people have the responsibility of the part of this process. Selection, preparation, and consumption are voluntary and depend on your degree of education and your sense of responsibility. Digestion, absorption, elimination of nutrients are involuntary and depend on the health and your body. A simple truth comes now. Voluntary and involuntary are processes that has a very strong relationship, and at the end of the day and the beginning of the day, we are what we eat. I will repeat, we are what we eat. Where to start? Obviously, for the information that the label give to us. In a first look, we have 4 items that we can find in every level: server information, calories, nutrients, and the daily value percent. Serving information. A serving information show us how many serving are per container, and always try to be a simple measure. For instance, a serving size is equal to 1 cup and is equal to 225 grams. First, take a look at the number of serving in the package, serving per container, and the serving size. Second, serving size are standardized to make it easier to compare similar food. They are provided in a familiar unit such as cups or pieces, followed by the metric amount, for example, number of grams. It is not a recommendation of how much you should eat or drink. This is a very important point because we don't have to eat 1, 2, 3, or 4 serving per container or wherever you want. There are a strong relationship with a diet strategy. Pay attention to the serving size, especially how many servings there are in the food package. For example, you may ask yourself if you are coming half serving, 1 serving or more. Calories. As everyone knows, calories are the amount of energy found in food and that we are used for the vital functions of our body. Calories provide a measure of how much energy you get from the serving of this food. To achieve or maintain our healthy body weight, balance the number of calories you eat and drink with the number of calories that your body uses. 2,000 calories a day is used as a general guide for nutrition advice. How many calories I need? Well, depend of, and this is the general idea. Your calorie needs may be higher or lower and vary depending on your age, sex, height, weight, and physical activity level. Nutrients. The first look that we can find in the label is how many macronutrients and micronutrients are in a food. Macronutrients shows in the first part of the label, and normally micronutrients show in the second part of the label. Macronutrients are fat, carbohydrate, and protein, and micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. It shows you some key nutrients that impact in your health. Look for food that contain more of the nutrients you want to get more on and less of nutrients you may want to limit. Nutrients to get less of: saturated fat, sodium, added sugar, and these three elements, saturated fat, sodium, and added sugar, are nutrients listed on the label that may be associated with adverse health effects. In a simple image, we can find good fat or bad fat, or popular good fat or bad fat. In general, unsaturated fat comes from food that has less processed or natural or without process. But bad fat who are saturated fat come for more processed food. For example, added sugar. Added sugar that is added to food during the process, cooking, and or in this case before eating. And remember one of the first slide. We are what we eat, and we have the decision of selection, preparation, and consumption of the food. On the other hand, natural sugar that is a natural found in wholes and processed food such as fruit. You can find the information of added sugar in this way normally. You can see the total sugar of the food, and here you can see in a solid way the added sugar. Nutrients to get more of: dietary fiber, vitamin D, calcium, iron, very important for girls and for the good regulation of the blood, and potassium. The fourth information that we can find in every label is the percent of daily value. The percent daily value is the percent of the daily value for each nutrient in a serving of a food. The percent daily value shows how much a nutrient in a serving of food contributes to a total daily diet, and helps you to determine if your serving of food is high or low in a nutrient. And remember, this is information have a relationship of how many calories is necessary for life in one day. Normally 2,000 calories for a normal people. General guide to percent of daily value. 5% of less is a nutrient per serving is considered low. 20% of the daily value or more of nutrients per serving is considered high. More often choose food that are higher in percent daily value for dietary fiber, vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. Lower percentage of daily value for saturated fat, sodium, and added sugar. Compare food. Use the percent of the daily value to compare food products. Remember to make sure that the serving size is the same, and more often choose products that are higher in nutrients you want to get more of, and lower in nutrients you want to get less of. This is a very simple example. For instance, here we have sodium. The sodium in this serving is 850 milligrams. is equal of 37% of the daily volume, and we have 63% of daily volume during the day to eat in other foods. But the second level shows that 2 servings has 1,700 milligrams of the percent of the daily volume with respect to the sodium. A simple example is easier in this level to see when a food have enough or less or more of the nutrient that we have to consumption. Color red show that in relationship with the percent of the daily value, this food had a high percent of. Yellow color shows a medium, and red color shows a lower percent of the daily value. To wait a little, do you know how many calories to eat per day? It's very important because sometimes people can lose weight, and suddenly when they learn how to read the levels, start to understand that they are eating more calories than they think. Do you know where to eat a lot of saturated fat or not? Do you feel that you are eating correctly? Do you feel that you should study a little more about food? It's very important, the process of education about food, because in this world, in the modern world, 90% of the food are processed, and we have to know exactly what we are eating and how affect our health. Thank you very much, and don't be afraid to ask any question that you have to ask. Thank you for stay there.